I'm Norm Schrein with Information Radio, and I am with Coach Brent Ullery. He's the head coach of the Centerville Elks, and we are at Centerville Stadium, no less. And first of all, Coach, a couple questions here for you.
Sure.
6-2 on the season, winning 4 out of your last 5. At the beginning of the season, if I said you would be 6-2 going into the last 2 weeks, what would you have said?
I think that we have progressed how we have planned to progress. Our players have put in a lot of good work, and they've worked really hard. And if you would have told us that we had any losses after week 2, I think we would have been surprised. Our kids have done a great job. Our coaches do a great job preparing. And while we're not where we want to be, we're certainly not going to turn down the result right now.
Obviously, not the result you were looking for last week, losing to a very good Springfield team. Offensively, you just couldn't get into much of a rhythm. What was that, more of a credit to their defense?
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job. They were well prepared. They played fast and physical football, and they were a very good matchup for what we do. So they did a great job, and we were very impressed with how they played out there.
Hard to discuss your team without talking about Chase Harrison. Can you tell us about your starting quarterback in his 4th season as a starter? What kind of a leader is he?
He's an awesome leader. He's developed quite nicely. He takes his craft very personal, and he wants to be great at being a quarterback. But the last few years, he's really taken it up a notch, and he really wants to pursue being a better person and helping our team be a better team outside of just his own individual play. He's done a phenomenal job. Couldn't be more happy with him.
Harrison is a leading receiver, while Cam Smith leads the GWOC in receiving, and he broke the career receiving yards recorded at Centerville this season. Can you talk about his growth and development over the last few years?
Sure. They both have a phenomenal chemistry. They've been playing together for probably a decade, where they kind of finish each other's thoughts. They know where each other's going to be on the field and how to get the ball to each other and everything. So just the chemistry that they have is really phenomenal, and you can't really coach it. So we won't take any credit for having coached it. It's all them. But Cam, he has really taken his football play to another level this year. He's always gotten by on talent and physical abilities, God-given abilities. But this past year, he really got in the weight room, really got into the speed training and everything that is pretty much a requirement of a top-tier football player these days. And he got after it all winter and spring and summer, and now we're just seeing the results.
The offensive line always goes underappreciated. Tell us a little bit about your line play and who our listeners should know.
Sure, they've done a phenomenal job this year. We probably haven't used them to their potential yet. They were together all off season, did a phenomenal job with their coaches in the weight room and everything, and they've really developed. I would say this is one of the better offensive lines we've had in a few years. And that's not to discredit any of our previous offensive lines, but that's just to give the credit where credit's due this year's class. James Owsley and Jackson Myers hold down the left side of the offensive line, and Brogan Mason and Nick Turner and Grant Wilder hold down the right side of the offensive line, and Zach Mayberry is about as trustworthy as a center as they come. So it's been a luxury that we can kind of do what we want when we want to with those guys, because they just kind of make us right, whether we're going right, left, backwards, or forwards.
Tell us about your defense, led by Gunnar Poole and Nick Bruder.
Sure. Gunnar Poole's a phenomenal multi-sport athlete. He's a wrestler, football player, throwback football player, very physical, very tough, very strong. Kind of anchors the middle of the defense there. And Nick Bruder is one of those, the best guy I can compare him to is Troy Polamalu. He's just got a savvy about him that he kind of floats around, and he's not always in the right place, but he's always there at the right time kind of guy. So he's a very, very high football IQ, and he plays extremely well and puts himself in good spots.
Okay, we're going to turn to Fairmont now. Mm-hmm. You know what they're going to do for the most part, but they're still a difficult team to prepare for. How do you slow down Drew Baker and their rushing attack?
Sure. I mean, the crowd thinks they know what Fairmont's going to do, but I don't think they're ever right. They're going to run the ball, that's for sure, but they do attack the triple option in a variety of angles and in a variety of ways that make it very difficult for a defense. What they do is very impressive. It's not just a run play right and a run play left like they they catch a lot of flack for, I'm sure. But they do a phenomenal job of, whether they're a quarterback's reading or whether it's just a belly ISO or it's a rocket toss or whatever it may be. They do a great job, and usually what makes the triple option go is the quarterback and the fullback. And they got two good ones. They've got a 3-year starter at quarterback, and they've got a 2-year starter at running back in Drew Baker. And they're both, Malik and Drew are both phenomenal athletes, and they deserve the highest respect because they've done nothing but earn the highest respect from us in our defense. So that's what we're going to give them, is the highest respect. And slowing them down is not going to be easy if we're able to do it.
Fairmont has one of the tougher defenses in the GWOC, both in yards allowed and in points given up. What makes them so effective?
Well, first and foremost, their offense makes them effective. If your offense is on the field, your defense is not. So that's a variable that needs to be considered. But, they play a very a basic defense, and they play it extremely well. They're very assignment sound, and they may give up a yard or two here or there, but when it all comes down to it, they do a pretty good job keeping teams out of the end zone. So that's going to be the hardest part Friday night, is just finding ways to not move the ball a little bit, because we think we can move the ball a little bit, but just being able to finish drives and finish in the end zone. Touchdowns they're going to win Friday night, not field goals.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for taking the time to speak with me today, and good luck on Friday night.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming over.
With Coach Dave Miller, head coach of the Fairmont Firebirds. Tough one last week, falling just short to Wayne, 17-15. Let's talk about the good parts first. Drew Baker, 42 attempts, 230 yards. Can you talk about your rushing attack last Friday?
No, it was good. We had a good response. Really, after 3 weeks where we kind of didn't do our job on offense, I felt like we responded really well. We got close to 30 minutes time of possession, and when we're able to move the ball like that, that's good. Especially against a good offense like Wayne. They're the #1 offense in our conference for a reason. So anytime we can do that, that's a good thing. So there were a lot of bright spots. Despite the loss, we kind of did some things to ourselves that didn't help, but that was one of them. We were able to run the ball.
The defense gave up a lot of yardage, but held several times, giving your offense a chance at the end. How did you feel the defense played?
I thought they played well. Again, are there things that we could have cleaned up? Sure, we had some missed tackles against really, a kid that's very explosive. We knew coming in when they put Kinley at quarterback that he was going to be a challenge, because they do run them. They have had, 3 D1 prospects on the offensive line, and then they had a stable of running backs with him. So, for us to do what we did really and hold him to 17 points, I felt pretty good about that. We talked about things that we could have done differently that would have possibly stopped them or, got them to a field goal or something like that. And those are things we have to improve on. But overall, I thought our defense played well.
Now we have to talk about a couple of the big plays at the end of the game. The first one was an amazing play, trailing 17-9, facing a 4th and goal from the 18-yard line. Talk about the touchdown that set up a potential game-tying 2-point conversion.
Well, it was one of those we put in, I think, a week before, and we ran it in pregame. We only ran that play like twice. I thought Malik did a great job, really, making that go, because it didn't look good there for a minute, and then he approached it exactly the right way, and saw Will Porter open in the back of the end zone and threw it to him, and ended up being a really exciting touchdown. It didn't have to be that way, because we had a really dumb penalty that set us back, and we were right on schedule. We were doing everything we're supposed to do, and we had one of our players make a huge mistake and forced us to have to do that, So, but it was well executed. They did a great job. I give that really to our kids. They just went out and made that happen. So.
Now, on the failed 2-point conversion attempt, a pass play that got knocked down. Of course, you'll get second-guessed when it doesn't work, but I thought it was a good call. But who does make that play call? Is it the offensive coordinator or yourself?
I made the call, and I stand by the call. It was a good call. We did not execute the way we were supposed to. I'm not going to really get into what happened, but we did not run the play as designed. I'll just put it that way. And if we had, it's a touchdown. And we tie the game. We're going into overtime. So, but hey, it shouldn't have come down to that. That's really the bottom line to take away. We missed an extra point and we missed a field goal. And if we get one of those two, we're either going into overtime or we win the game. That's where we are.
Brian Kinley was somewhat forced into the quarterback role for Wayne because of an injury the prior week, and ran the ball quite effectively, 15 times for 137 yards.
Yep.
He was incredibly difficult to bring down in the open field. Were you able to prepare much for him, and how does the injury report look at the high school level?
Well, we knew he played quarterback, and we were concerned about him because he was explosive, and as promised, he came out or as advertised, he came out and kind of chewed us up a little bit. But again, our whole mentality is we make you earn every yard, and I think we did make him earn most of them. But he's really good, and they have a really good offensive line, and I stand by what our defense did. The 350 yards sounds really bad, but we gave up 17 points. If we kick a field goal and make an extra point, we're not even talking about that. So
I was just thinking, two of the toughest teams in the area, you held to 17 points each time.
Yeah, that says a lot.
Turning the focus now to Centerville, and speaking of the injury report, how is your team looking injury-wise?
I think we're okay. We're a little dinged up. I mean, that was a really physical game, but I think we're okay. Overall, we'll come into it as close to full strength as we can at this time of the season. So I feel good about where we are.
Now, is it harder to stop a mobile quarterback like Kinley, or say a pocket passer like the one you faced this week in Chase Harrison?
Well, I wouldn't call him a pocket passer. He can run, and he's shown that at different times this year. So, he's capable of doing a lot of things, and he's really good. He's a 4-year starter. I mean, and the kid's going to Marshall. He's a really good quarterback, very accurate. They have some serious weapons, with their receivers, and they've got a running back that's pretty explosive, himself. So it's another. I think they're second or third in the conference and on offense, but so it doesn't get any easier. But our defense is playing well, and if we can continue to get better, that's good.
And finally, Coach, they appear to be better against the run than the pass, giving up 102 yards per game on the ground compared to 180 through the air. What is the scouting report on their defense?
Now they're well coached. They're sound. They've really made it tough for us the last several years. So we have to execute. We have to hopefully pick up where we left off Friday and kind of go from there. So we'll be excited. Kids are excited. Just to get back out there again. And it's a shame we dropped the one Friday because that was within our grasp. But hopefully get better and move on.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you for taking the time to speak with me, and have good luck on Friday.
No problem. Thanks, Norm.